So when we came down here, we noticed you had some stuff framed. I just want to know, like, why you picked these
One
photos.
of my wives did that.
Oh, so it wasn't you? Oh. All right. But there has to be some rhyme or reason. Like, what about the Sportsman of the Year, 68, such a tumultuous year in American history?
Well, the reason that was important was it had nothing to do with basketball.
Yeah.
It had to do with being an athlete with a social conscience.
You are a superb athlete and have intense pride in that, but to be judged on other things, too.
Yes, you know, it's something that says we see you as a man. Rather than this is an athlete or a performer, this is a man. And this is what this award means to me.
In 1967, Muhammad Ali risked his career by refusing to be drafted to fight in Vietnam. America's finest black athletes stood by him, with Bill Russell leading the way.
Look at some of the personalities from that decade. You and Ali and Jim Brown and Kareem, like, these are some of the most thoughtful athletes ever, and you're all there at the same time.
We came out of friendship to Muhammad Ali. And I know that we wanted to find out from him. You know, you read the papers, you see on television and all this kind of stuff, what is going on?
What I did, or tried to do, was support all these guys.
And you were also the first African-American athlete who was outspoken, who talked about stuff that really nobody was talking about in the 60s. Like, you were the first one.
Do you think that you will get some white kids to play basketball with Negro kids?
I think so. I don't see why not. My kids play with white kids, and nobody got hurt yet.
Jackie Robinson was a hero to all of us.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know that I was pallbearer at Jackie Robinson's funeral. And I had enormous respect for him. But my attitude was that Jackie took us from point A to point B. And I wanted to go from point B to point C. It was my inheritance from Jackie to do things, to seize that opportunity. Go back to my childhood. When we first moved into the projects, my mother was unpacking, and I was sitting on the steps, and these four kids ran by, and one of them slapped me as he was going by. So I did what 9-year-old kids do. I went home and told my mother, I went upstairs and told my mother, that guy hit me. She grabbed the house keys and grabbed me, and we went all through the projects looking for those guys. And she said, these the guys? I said, yes, ma'am. Well, you're gonna fight every one of them one at a time. It was 5 of them. I lost 3 and won 2. And so I go home crying, and she says, don't cry. You did what you had to do. You had to stand up for yourself.
And that lesson you just took through the 50s and 60s.
The things that I did was I never let anybody, as my mother used to call it, run over me.
I left the hotel and I went to a restaurant down the street. And the proprietor asked me what I wanted. I said, this is a restaurant, isn't it? I'd like to get something to eat. He told me no.
We played a game, and we were booked to play a game in Lexington, Kentucky. Casey went down to the restaurant in the hotel we were staying, and they would not serve him. I decided, and the other guys decided to go along with me not to play. So I told Ray we were leaving. I said, because it's important to me that everybody everywhere knows that the black players decided they'll stand up for themselves.
And that was it?
Yeah. Although one of the newspapers in St. Louis wrote that the black players embarrassed the Celtics and they should be suspended and fined.
Martin Luther King Jr. was killed tonight in Memphis, Tennessee, shot in the face as he stood alone on the balcony of his hotel room.
We were talking about 1968 and when Martin Luther King got assassinated. What do you remember now? It's been almost 45 years since that happened.
Well, you know, I had met him at the March on Washington.
And you were there for the I Have a Dream speech?
Yes, yes. In fact, I was invited to go on the stage, but I respectfully declined because they had been working on that for more than a year, and I hadn't done anything. And I didn't think it was right or fair to me go up on the stage and say, see, I'm one of the guys.
Yeah.
And so I sat in the first row.
So you get the news that he's been killed. You're about to play the Sixers in the '68 playoffs.
Well, they asked us, do you want to call the game off? And someone pointed out that 12 or 13,000 people on the streets with emotions off the chart. And if we play the game, they'd give the folks a chance to cool down. And that's the reason we had the game.
So you're glad you had the game in retrospect. It seems like it was the right idea.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. We did what we thought was right at that time.
President of the United States, he said in 40 years he thought a Negro could be elected president. But when the atmosphere is as it is today, it won't happen for 400 years. A few young people here that would like to be president of the United States. If you'd like to, don't give it up. You don't have to give it up. Because in spite of everything, I want you to remember one thing. You can do anything that you want to do, if you want to do it bad enough. Thank you very much.
Bill Russell, the man, is someone who stood up for the rights and dignity of all men. He marched with King. He stood by Ali. When a restaurant refused to serve the black Celtics, he refused to play in the scheduled game. But he kept on focusing on making the teammates who he loved better players and made possible the success of so many who would follow.
You received the Medal of Freedom,
Which is the highest honor that an American citizen can get.
I feel honored to be on the same stage with the president.
All the stuff you fought for in the '60s, and then it leads to that moment. That's
Well,
pretty cool, too.
That's what he said to me. He said, thanks for the inspiration. He said that I was one of the reasons he was able to become president, because I elevated the standards of